You have a secret admirer that is wanting to approach you, wanting to step out of the shadows. This is somebody who has been looking on from afar for long enough. They've seen enough and they are determined to step towards you with an offer, with an invitation. Something that it feels like they want to start off small. They want to start off with something very simple. They don't want to freak you out. They don't want to overwhelm you. They don't want to scare you off. They may see that you're somebody that is not easy to get close to. You have your walls very high. You're very particular as far as like the company that you keep. And this is something that this person has a lot of respect for. They see that you are someone who has, come to a place in your life, or perhaps you've always been this way, of you choose quality over quantity. And so this is something where this person recognizes that like they're going to have to earn your trust. They're going to have to, put in the work and take the time to allow themselves to be known by you, to kind of move at a pace that is comfortable for you. And at the same point in time to be consistent, open and enthusiastic enough with you that you understand that they're not just here to like waste your time. They're not just coming in with sort of the intention of taking from you. That this is not somebody who is wanting to kind of just hover around in the friend zone, try to manipulate in some sort of way in order to kind of get you to let your guard down. This is somebody that is like, I want to come forth in the energy of truth. I've sat on the sidelines and I've let this interest spark within me for long enough. I'm like, I don't want to hide this connection anymore. I don't want to come forth and, kind of like feed you a line of BS and just kind of like have you sort of stringing you along in some sort of way until I feel that I'm in like an empowered position or comfortable to open up about feelings. It feels like this person is sort of anticipating, like if you get comfortable with them very quickly, then they are kind of like, I need to be open to talking about my feelings quickly. If this is something where your guard is up, your walls are up, depending on sort of what you've been through recently in romance or, in your life, then this is somebody that is like prepared to take a slower approach to that. It feels like they're very flexible, like either way. If you want to move quickly, things will move quickly. If you want to move slow, things will move slow. It does feel like this person, though, is almost wanting to kind of like hold back on getting sort of physically intimate or, not really wanting things to kind of go in that direction too soon. Because as they've been sort of like watching from afar, admiring you, studying you, starting to develop this little crush on you. And, it's now reached this point where it's like, okay, I want to approach, I want to say something. There's a sense that they see a lot of beautiful qualities in you, or they see that you're a very beautiful person. And so there's a sense of like, if we have a chance to have something real, something more than just a fling, something more than just a temporary experience with one another, then I'd rather hold out on that kind of like physical gratification, that sexual gratification, so we can lay a proper foundation with one another and have more of a chance that something stable can result from our interaction. Something long term can result from our interaction. If we take the time to get to know one another, this person feels like that is more of an assured recipe of long term success. So there's a lot of desire for you, a lot of like, it doesn't even feel like chemistry, because for a lot of you it feels like you're not aware of who this person is. Like they've been watching from afar. Maybe they've been watching on social media, or they've like seen you out and about, they've seen you around, and so at this point it feels like it's very one-sided from their end. So they wouldn't even call it chemistry. They would definitely just describe themselves probably as a secret admirer. They've got a crush, and there's a sense like, I don't just want to keep dwelling in that energy. I don't want it to spiral into something unhealthy. I don't want to miss out on an opportunity, with you to kind of see, is there something between us? Would you be interested in me as well? Do you like the vibe that I'm bringing to the table? Would you find me attractive as well? Would you be interested in someone like me? And in order to have those answers, in order to find those answers, this is somebody that knows that they need to approach and they need to speak about that out loud. We've also got, just wait on me. Please don't give up on me. So this person may have kind of like taken note, or they've observed that they haven't seen you with anyone that they would like assume is your significant other, your plus one. It feels like if this is somebody that has like seen you on social media, maybe you haven't really posted anything about your, relationship status. You're very kind of like mysterious as far as that's concerned. And so there's a part of this person that is kind of like, they're really hoping that you're open to getting to know new people. They're hoping that you're open to dating. They're hoping that you're not like closed off or embittered, or having some kind of heartbreak, healing from a heartbreak, or that just you had like a bad experience in love that would make you sort of like be very shut down. They're hoping that you're very receptive. And they're hoping that, even if you're kind of like scared to trust, or you're wounded in some sort of way, they're hoping that the manner in which they approach, or kind of like the vibe that they bring into the situation, is enough to sort of like make you relax, make you give them a chance, kind of like make you sort of be like, all right, I'll hear you out. I'll see what you have to say. We can talk, we can start to get to know one another. Yeah, I'll go have coffee with you. I'll go have drinks. We'll go have lunch, whatever that kind of looks like. It doesn't feel like this is going to be somebody that out of like nowhere is like, hi, I'm so-and-so, want to go have lunch. They'll put in a little bit of work to kind of like get to know one another, but it feels like it's something where they're really hoping that, you are going to be open to the idea of that you're going to, like them, that you're going to like the vibe that they give off. This is somebody that wants to come forth and try to convey to you, like, I'm a safe person. There's nothing that you need to fear. They don't want to come on too strong. They don't want to overwhelm you in any sort of way. And they're really hoping that kind of the emotional state that they are like, that you're in when they approach you, they're really hoping that like someone hasn't broken your heart recently, to where you'd be like, I'm not interested in dating right now. I'm closed down. I'm wounded. I'm done with love. I'm not looking for partnership. Like, they're really hoping that that is not the response that they get. And so if anything, there's like a bit of nervousness about that, just uncertainness. Like, I don't know what I'm stepping into, but this is not stopping this person, from at least trying, from at least approaching. It feels like with both hands on the table, so that you see like there's nothing that they are trying to hide. We also have, no one can change my love for you. So this person is definitely not going, through sort of the aftermath of a heartbreak. This is not somebody that's rebounding from an ex. This is not somebody that is just looking to fill a void of loneliness. This is someone who has learned to be okay in their own energy. They've learned to be okay in their own company. They've closed out chapters of the past, or, they've taken time to kind of grieve a loss in love with a previous person. And so when you've come to their attention now, they've had their eyes on you for a little while, they've developed this little crush, and they're like, okay, I got to do something about this. This is somebody that's very open emotionally. They're emotionally ready. I'm hearing, I'm ready for anything. So this is something where, they're strong enough in themselves. They can take that rejection if that's what you do. It feels like this is somebody that if you're kind of like, standoffish, or you're slow to open up to them, you're kind of just like, I'll open the door just a crack for you, but you're gonna have to be very convincing before I, kind of step forth or let myself be seen by you in any kind of like deeper or significant way. This is somebody that's willing to put the work for that. And if it's something where it turns out that the two of you click, that you gel, that there is this, mutual chemistry, this mutual attraction, that it just happens very naturally between the two of you, then this is somebody that's like, I'm ready for that too. This is somebody that's definitely like, they want to take the lead in this situation. They don't want to make you feel like you need to do any of this heavy lifting or hard work. They understand, because they are the one that is intent on pursuing you, that they ought to kind of create a space or experiences where it's like, just sit back and sort of like, let me show you what I want to show you. Just sit back and kind of like, let me present myself to you. Because it's not like, a mutual crush situation. This isn't this circumstance where it's like you've kind of like given them the signals that you're interested. It's like this person's just basically coming out of left field. They're coming out of a very like, you don't know me, but I'd like to get to know you sort of an energy. And so they understand that it's kind of like, if you're going to open up, if you're going to let them in, if there is some kind of real connection that can happen between the two of you, they understand that kind of the burden is on them to really, at least in that kind of initial phase, to be the one that is sort of like putting in a lot of that work in order to, kind of like let you know, hey, I'm serious about this. I'm serious about getting to know you. I'm not just showing up for like, a temporary fling or like a very just kind of like quick experience. I'm not coming in to sort of like disturb your peace or ruffle your feathers, or to bring a lot of chaos into your life and into your reality. Like, I'm emotionally ready within myself to, have a very beautiful exchange and a beautiful experience with another person. So if you like who I am, if you like my style, if you like what I bring to the table, I'm open for that. I'm excited for that. I'm ready for that. We also have, you influence me in ways no one ever has. So it feels like this person is trying to get very creative in terms of how they approach you, because you may be someone that's very hard to access. You may be somebody that like, you keep a very tight schedule. You run a very tight ship. You might be somebody that they only catch like glimpses of you, or, it's something where it's almost like what you're presenting is just kind of like a vibe or an energy, or the way that you're putting yourself out there at this point is like, it's not just an open door policy for anyone. You're not like giving off this energy of desperation. You're not giving off an energy where you're overly friendly. You're actually giving this person a vibe of like, you're kind of closed off, but they don't see that as that you're like a prude, or, that you're stuck up, or you think you're better than anyone. There's kind of like, you're somebody that is probably closed off for a reason. There's probably some aspect where this is kind of like, you've developed this as sort of like a coping mechanism, a defense mechanism. Maybe it is necessary for other things you have going on. So this person wants to like tread very lightly. They don't want to cross any boundaries. They don't want to kind of like, be a nuisance for you. This is nobody that wants to kind of like make any sort of like alarm bells go off and you're like, okay, who is this? And I got to close off even more. This is somebody that really wants to help you to relax to the idea of them. And so with that is kind of like, I want to stand out from just being some random person that is kind of like, hey, let's talk. Hey, I want to get to know you. Like, they don't want to be something where you just kind of like toss them in the spam folder. You kind of just ignore the message. You sort of like overlook them. You close off. You walk on by. This is somebody that is like, I need to take a very unique approach to this, in order to kind of establish myself as like, yeah, I'm not just here to waste your time. I'm not just here to, sort of give you the runaround, but I'm somebody that is, got like a crush on you, like a real crush on you. And I think I bring something to the table that you might be interested in. I think I bring a lot of good qualities to the table as a person. This is somebody that is almost like, they may approach it kind of like a job interview, only they're like, I'm fun, I'm sexy, I'm adventurous, I'm smart, I like cooking, I like taking long walks on the beach, things like that. Like they may be just very like forthcoming with a lot of information about themselves, in order to kind of like help you know, like they're like a real person. They got like these multiple facets to themselves, and so that you have like the best picture that you can possibly have of sort of like who they are, what they're about, the way that their mind works, what their interests are, what they're kind of like offering, what they're hoping to experience and exchange in return. This is somebody that is like, if we need, an extended talking phase in order for you to feel comfortable, then cool, like I'm on board with that. If this is something where we hit it off really quickly, of course I'd like to get together in person. Of course I'd like to meet up. Of course I'd like to, take you out on a date. This is not somebody that is harboring a lot of fears where they're like, I don't know why, I'm just really drawn to you and I gotta say something, but then I don't know what I want. It's kind of like if you know, let them in pretty quickly, and if things go well, this is somebody that's very prepared for like, okay, yeah, let's meet up, let's go do something, let's hang out, let's go on a date, let's you know, get the ball rolling as far as an experience is concerned romantically. We also have, I know we are being spiritually guided. So this person almost feels that they may have been sort of like divinely guided towards you. If they've encountered you on social media, it's like the algorithm recommended them. You just sort of like popped into their awareness and they weren't like seeking out things of the nature of like what you post, or something that might have almost been just like random, like they were just scrolling and something caught their eye, something caught their attention. It may have even been something where this is somebody that is on like a social media of somebody who's on your social media, and so it's kind of like the paths crossed in that sense. They caught sight of you, somebody mentioned something, somebody shared something with them that you'd posted, you'd put out there. In some way you were like a part of a conversation, something that was referenced. And so it's kind of like this was no sort of like accident, it was not random, and yet there's a lot of randomness to it, that it feels like may also coincide with kind of the sense of almost like the crush that this person has developed for you in this period of time where they've been this secret admirer. You know, this is something where it's almost like it feels like the worst decision for them to continue to just like sit here and admire. There's a sense that like they feel very almost like compelled, like I don't know why, but I have to take a step forward. I mean, you don't know them, you don't know that they're watching. You might be intuitive and you might be like, yeah, I know I've got a secret admirer, I've got a couple, you know, so what else is new? You know, it might be something that it's not really that much of a surprise for you, but as far as they're concerned, it's like I could just continue to sit here and observe and you would have no idea. Like there's no pressure to act in that sense. This is not a situation of somebody that's like, you know, your friends and they develop feelings, or it's like a coworker and, you know, I better say something because now it's creating awkwardness in the workspace. No, this is somebody that is definitely, they're going to approach you and like, hi, my name is, hi, nice to meet you. It's going to be totally new introduction kind of energy. And yet there's something inside of them that is sort of like, okay, I need to take a step forward. I've sat here looking long enough. I don't need to just sit here and be an observer. I want to get in closer. I want to get to know this person. I want to see if they like me. I want to see if I have a chance. I want to see if they're open for love and romance. I want to see if I'm the type of person they'd be willing to explore that with. And so all of that feels to be something that is guided by more than just a level of confidence inside this person. There's almost something that they feels like it's very important for them to speak to. It's very important for them to act upon this urge, not just in terms of like honoring something in them that is like, hey, you have this feeling, you should go for it. You know, but it's something that's almost like, I don't know why, but I think we'd be really good together. I think we'd make a cute couple. I think you'd really like me. I think I'd really like you. And we also have, I'm planning to surprise you. Yeah, so there's that other confirmation of this is somebody that you have not met before. This is going to be like all new energy. And it feels like the level of enthusiasm that's coming through is going to be something that is very good for you at this particular point in time, especially if you were dealing with people that were just kind of like in and out, or, you know, you were having to do a lot of that work in kind of the initial phase, or to keep the connection, you know, sort of alive, or you're like, I don't even know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's kind of like happening with this person. This individual, this secret admirer that's crushing on you, it's kind of like, yeah, if you talk to them, they're going to be like, great, I'm so happy to talk to you. Let me just be very proactive with you. Let me be an active listener. Let me ask interesting questions. Let me offer compelling information about myself. Let me be as transparent as possible, because it feels like whatever this person like sees in you, it's something that's like, it's checking off a lot of boxes for them. It feels like at this point they're kind of gauging it just on sort of like the feeling inside of themselves. Like, I don't know why, but something about this feels right. It's like this is almost like when it comes to this situation with you, it's like they're reading a mystery novel that's like a page turner. Like they can't wait to turn the page. They can't wait to see what happens next. But in order to do that, it's like, I gotta come out of the shadows. I gotta come out of this observer energy. I've gotta come in close. I gotta introduce myself. We gotta have some like real world contact. I can't just sit here thinking about this. I can't just sit here fantasizing. I can't just sit here admiring you from afar. So it feels like this is somebody that brings forth a lot of enthusiasm, a very lively energy. They may be somebody who's also very kind of like high energy, very optimistic, a very high vibrational person. And so this is something that it feels like this is not going to be an experience of, you're dragging somebody along kind of through the motions of like, hey, you approached me first, so why are you being standoffish? This is somebody that is almost like wanting to approach and like, hey, do you want to dance? Cool, okay, let's dance. And it's something that kind of takes off from there in a way to where if you find them pleasing, if you like their personality, if you like their style, if you like their vibe, this is somebody that is like, all right, yeah, I'm ready to go out on a date now. I'm ready to explore something with you. I'm ready to keep showing up. This is an emotionally available person, who it feels like they would be very happy if you would consider them as kind of like a possible romantic partner. And if what they're feeling inside towards you at this point was reciprocated by you, it feels like it would totally make this person's day. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.